As you mentioned, JC, we are showing Pikmin 3 Deluxe today, and right now we're in story mode, probably about 5 minutes into the story, past the introduction, tutorial, cutscenes, etc. And I am controlling one of the explorers named Alf here. Generally, what the story is three Alf and two explorer companions of his crash land on this alien planet and find themselves in need of getting back together again, finding the other explorers, but also finding food for their planet. And they meet these Pikmin creatures on the planet, which are adorable plant-like creatures we can see here that are very curious, they're very loyal, and you'll be using them throughout your adventure. So I just called a few red Pikmin out of the base here. And you notice I'm skipping a few of the prompts. I'm going to be doing that a little bit throughout this just in order to keep the flow going, as well as not to spoil the game for everyone as well. So, but as I move my left stick around, you're able to see that I control my explorer, and the left stick also controls this red cursor as well. So if I'm all the way out of range, it also moves the explorer. If I push the A button where the cursor is located, you'll toss a Pikmin to that location. And if you toss a Pikmin near something like this flower pellet over here, you'll see that the Pikmin automatically starts to carry it back to his base, which is called an onion. And we're going to see some sprouts pop out of the top there and then go into the ground, which is the way Pikmin propagate. So if you want to get more Pikmin on your squad, you just want to bring things back to their base and then pluck the new Pikmin out of the ground. I've been using the control stick to control, thus far, the cursor. But what I'm going to do now briefly is just pause the game and switch over to motion control to control the cursor, just because that's a personal preference of mine that I started to like a lot more on the Wii U release, but it is totally optional for player preference on how to control the pointer. So that red pointer where you see 23 is now being controlled with just a little bit of motion now. So story-wise, we are trying to reunite with our fellow explorer, Brittany. And if I pause the game using the minus button, we can see that there's sort of a radar being pulsating over here across the water. So it looks like I need to somehow cross the water to reach Brittany. But if I try to take the direct approach and just go through the water, we're finding out that the game tells us that red Pikmin are not able to go into the water. Water is lethal to them. So fortunately, I can use my whistle with the B button and whistle all of my Pikmin back to land. So because the Pikmin are so helpful throughout my adventures, you really do grow a bond to them, and you do not want to lose even one. But yes, there's a little creature over here that wants a lunch too. So
yeah, it looks hungry.
Yeah, these yellow things that you'll come across are memos, which can often give you a brief hint on how to go about your adventure here. So it recommended me tossing a Pikmin on the back of that creature, which if I toss a couple more, we'll be able to carry that creature back to the base to get more Pikmin. And I actually tossed some Pikmin on these bridge tiles as well, because what we're able to see is even though I can't cross the water yet, if I collect enough bridge tiles with my Pikmin, they'll be able to build this bridge. So while they are bringing those tiles to the bridge, I can see that there's a few more bridge pieces across this wall, but I need to break down that wall. So if I toss a couple Pikmin at the wall, they'll start breaking it down, but they'll go pretty slowly. So if I want to speed up the process, we throw more Pikmin at the job. And meanwhile, we still have our Pikmin collecting these tiles. Looks like my Pikmin also brought back that carcass from the small little creature, so we were able to get even more Pikmin. And we'll throw these new Pikmin at the wall to make it go even faster.
You know, this whole thing about Pikmin, I do want to talk a bit more about that, because I think it's really interesting. You know, these Pikmin, you think about it, right? You pluck them out of the ground, and these big eyes, they're still trying to figure out the world, and they're kind of relying on someone to tell them what to do. So, as you can tell, all these Pikmin have like a single focus when you tell them what to do. And, you know, from their perspective, it's like, okay, well, I should follow this living thing that's telling me what to do, right? But at the same time, it's kind of curious about you. The open eyes, full of wonder. It's kind of relying on you to kind of help it, right? And so I feel kind of bad because at times you may encounter some enemies and Pikmin may what's the word, die. And that sound is absolutely heartrending, and I do not wish that on anyone. However, if you put Pikmin in a bad situation, it's kind of your fault. It's not theirs. So take care of your Pikmin. That's the story.
That's right. And I had to go back and collect them. As you mentioned, they were single-minded. So once they're done with a task, they kind of just wait for their next order. So you're constantly needing to whistle to get their attention whenever they complete their tasks. And we're coming up against our second creature of the game here, which is a larger version of that Bulborb we saw, that creature. And as I creep around here before waking him up, I did want to point out another one of the fun features of the game, which is the in-game camera. At any time, you can push the minus button to pause and kind of just see the world from your explorer's eyes, which is that pint-sized view. So we've got, this Pikmin's just looking at me waiting for his next order. Hey, buddy. But it's a fun way to take pictures on your journey, as well as almost feel like you're kind of on this nature safari. While this enemy is sleeping, instead of tossing my Pikmin one at a time, I'm going to use a different feature which is called Charge, which if you lock on and press the X button, will send them all of your Pikmin in your squad at the creature or object at once. And that can be very useful if you've got a large squad you're wanting them to take an order all at one time. So you can use that on the walls as well, for example.
And you mentioned that you just used that feature a couple times. I do want to point that out because I really, really like that feature, which is the lock-on feature. If you're familiar with the Pikmin games, you'll kind of remember that there was no lock-on feature. You had to kind of manually aim, kind of do it. But by tapping the ZR button a couple times, you can cycle through targetable items on the screen. And so it can make kind of tossing and moving your Explorer a lot faster just by kind of hot swapping between different lock-on targets. So I really dig that.
Yeah, and I think the cycling through the different objects and enemies is the thing that really helps me when there are multiple objects or you're in a tight space. So we're coming across Brittany. We're getting a little bit closer to her. We are seeing that fortunately she's okay. The crash landing just made her take a little bit of a nap, and she needs to be rescued now. She's kind of still trapped in here.
I like that language you're speaking.
Yeah, the explorers do speak a different language, so fortunately we as the players can see the subtitles there. Very cute language. All right, so Brittany noticed that there was some fruit nearby, which we will see just as we round the corner. A strawberry, which looks much larger in this world to us because we as the explorer and the Pikmin are so tiny. And because my explorer cannot jump, the only way to reach this item is actually by tossing Pikmin near the strawberry. So you see that number 3 on the bottom. That indicates that the minimum number of Pikmin required to move the object is 3, but you can throw a few more if you want the object to move a little bit faster. And they will know instinctively, the Pikmin, to bring that back to the base. So I can leave them on their own, and they'll get it back there. And as we're trying to continue on and rescue Brittany, we need to get past this wall, but we're finding that this wall, red Pikmin can't break down. And so another new feature that I wanted to showcase here is these optional hints that have been added. So if a newer player, got stuck or just wanted to know what to do next, you can push up on the plus control pad, and that's going to show some hints. And then even in addition, some arrows on the ground just to let you know where to go. So it's guiding me to a nearby cave here to maybe find what we need to progress the story.
Mm-hmm. And at the top of the screen, you'll notice that kind of sun meter kind of crawling across from left to right across the top of the screen. And that kind of indicates how much time, Corey has to get through his tasks because, well, let's just say nighttime is not very nice to Pikmin. You want to make sure you get them out of there before sundown. And, that actually ties into the hints also. So if this is the first time for you playing the game, if you really just want to make the most out of your day and you want something, some kind of hint, feel free to use them. And just it'll help you kind of explore different ways and different methods that maybe you weren't aware of yet. So definitely use it.
And after defeating this enemy, we discovered that there were a new type of Pikmin that were actually inside that creature. These are rock Pikmin. And we didn't go into detail earlier, but each Pikmin type will have their own specialties. So we're learning here that rock Pikmin have the ability to break sort of these hard crystals or glass, which red Pikmin would not. Later on, you'll see that blue Pikmin are the only Pikmin that can go in the water. So, all right. So now that we've got that enemy defeated, I would like to basically sprout a few more rock Pikmin. So I'm going to ask those rock Pikmin to bring it back to the onion, and we will pluck some more rock Pikmin out before we continue our adventure. And again, one of those memos that pop up, letting you know a little game tip. I love the adorable kind of 2D artwork on those as well. All right, so we've got our rock Pikmin. We've got our red Pikmin. I feel confident we can head out of this cave now. Oops. Let me reorient myself there. There we go. So this wall that we could not break down earlier, again, if I try to throw red Pikmin, we'll see that nothing really happens. But if I push the L button, I swap between Pikmin types and can now throw rocks Pikmin, and we're seeing them break down the wall. Using my whistle to gather my Pikmin back, and Brittany, finally we found you. Let's get you out of there. Let's break down this glass wall as well.
That's a celebratory backflip they just did.
She is super happy to no longer be confined. So now that they've reunited here, I'm able to use both Brittany and Alf at the same time. And the first kind of way that the game will teach you, it's not just for, I guess, aesthetics that you can have multiple party members, but it actually comes in handy from a strategy perspective. So having Brittany, you can toss her over a gap, toss her some Pikmin, and then at any moment while you're playing, you can push the Y button and switch to Brittany. And then we're going to see that she's able to, since she's on a higher elevation, throw some Pikmin up to reach that lemon. And if I were on a lower elevation, I'm going to whistle really quickly once they get this lemon down, we would see that if I tried to throw red Pikmin that high, they would not be able to reach that high. So there are points throughout the game where you will need to split up your squad and maybe throw one over a gap or over water. But since we do have two explorers now in the game, both Alf and Brittany, JC, I thought it could be a good time for you to hop in, since with Pikmin 3 Deluxe, it is the first time that two people can play the story mode together. At any time, you can just pause, go to play co-op, and JC, you want to hop in?
Absolutely.
Cool. So we'll see the screen now becomes split with me on the left, JC on the right. JC doesn't have any Pikmin right now, so he can't really do much on his own. So I'm going to throw some red Pikmin your way, and you'll just have to whistle at them, and they'll be in your party.
Appreciate that.
And I'm going to keep charge of these rock Pikmin, and let's just keep making our way forward. There's some creatures up here that are carrying crystals, which can be a little dangerous to the red Pikmin, so let me take these guys out before the red Pikmin squad comes in. All right,
Appreciate that.
They are gone. So
I'll take these bridge tiles over here and start building, because there's a bridge. So I'll start doing this.
Okay. There is a bridge we found, and JC is going to get one side, and I found some bridge tiles on the left that need to be carried back, but it was in a sort of crystal, so I used my rock Pikmin there, and we're kind of seeing some teamwork here. JC is using his squad to do a different task than me, which is, again, we're making the most of our time, and it's fun working together. So looks like I've got 7 more bridge tiles to go, and we will have this bridge completed. Come on, rock Pikmin.
And I did time that appropriately to make sure that I wanted the red one. So I get More
All right.
red Pikmin.
So our bridge should be done now almost. Looks like they've got it. Final pieces in place. And
There we go.
all right. So now that we've got the bridge, I'm just going to whistle to make sure I've got all of the kind of idle Pikmin in my party. And actually,
I'm taking some.
yeah. Okay, good. You threw some Pikmin on some enemies and some,
Faster.
yeah, some food, some pellets that we can bring back. And as we make our way back, you're going to notice that we're actually back where we started. So we built a bridge, sort of a shortcut now back to the starting point. I'll go ahead and grab these red Pikmin since they're just standing there. And we're finding a new wall that we couldn't actually break down earlier when we first started. So since I found rock Pikmin, I'm going to throw them at this wall. And we didn't talk too much about this earlier, but any piece of fruit that you saw, we got the strawberry earlier, you'll want to bring that back to your base. And the more fruit you collect, the more days you're going to be able to explore this world. So that's how fruit plays a role in the game's story mode. Brittany here is noticing that we got a new radar kind of detection from elsewhere on the map, so she's recommending we go check it out. There's another tip letting us know that red Pikmin are fire resistant.
Looks so defiant in the face of fire. Look at that. I just kind of enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to take out this this
some
enemy
new
here. It's breathing
creatures
fire.
here. All right. Oh, and I did not listen to that warning, but my rock Pikmin's lit up like a birthday candle, and he's freaking out. Similar to Pikmin, if they're drowning, as long as you whistle at a Pikmin in peril, as long as it's in time, they'll come running back to you, and they'll be okay. Here it's just letting us know that we found some bridge materials, but this time it's on the opposite side of the water, so there's going to be a little bit more complications in order to get those bridge pieces. All right.
Taking this.
I also have some red Pikmin in my party, so rather than continuing to burn my rock Pikmin, I'm going to try to use my red Pikmin as well. Oh, thank you. Teamwork.
I got you.
Nice. All right, so
There you go.
those enemies have been felled. All right, so at this point, there is the bridge that we cannot cross on the left. JC, if you kind of come up to where I'm at, I'm going to hold down the Y button, which will allow you to join my party, and then I can toss you over the water, and I can also throw some rock Pikmin over to you, because I think you're going to need some rock and some red.
Thank you.
And
Oh,
while
Pikmin
you work
riches.
on that bridge, I'll just hang out.
Sweet. Ooh, yes. Found him.
Oh, nice. You used the charge feature. Well
I'm
done.
impatient.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to have a little bit of fun. And one of my other favorite features of the game, we showed it a little bit earlier, but that camera, I really like it. From that pint-sized perspective, oh, there's our enemy we just defeated, but we can also see some Pikmin hanging out. Do some autofocus. Oh, wow. They are just waiting for you to get your job done, lounging.
They need direction. They need guidance. They need love and support and all the other things.
I love taking photos. Okay. Back to work. You guys. Finish your bridge.
Yeah, I think my folks are done on my side, so we're good.
Actually, the one other feature I wanted to showcase briefly is another new feature to Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which is called the Piclopedia. And here, any creatures that you come across in the game will get their own entries, and you can, once you go in, you can tap on it and see different entries from different explorers in your party. So we've got Alf here that's commenting on this Dwarf Bulborb. Since we've got Brittany, we can see her comments as well. There are spaces for 3 additional explorers notes, so you can imagine that there will be some other fun notes to read about as well. But I find that it's really fascinating to come in because each explorer has their own take on how they talk about the enemies and creatures you come across. So yeah, that is probably enough story mode for now. I'll go ahead and pause the game, and let's switch over to another brand new feature to Pikmin 3 Deluxe called Side Stories.